Welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Basketball PH podcast. Enjoy the show.
Fantasy Basketball PH. Put your money where your mouth is. At ibang talakayan kaya tara halika. Fantasy Basketball PH ang bida. Fantasy Basketball PH. Ang numero unong basketball patasya ng Pinas. Fantasy Basketball PH. Dito mapag-uusapan mga ballers na likas. Fantasy Basketball PH. Put your money where your mouth is. Iba't ibang talakayan kaya tara halika. Fantasy Basketball PH ang bida. Na ito'y magsisilbing daungan sa mga hilig na ang basketball ay mapag-usapan. Kasama si Papi Ray, madami kang matututunan gaya ng strategy, analysis sa kaganapan. Pag-uusapan ang DFS, roto head-to-head, buy low, sell high, add, draft and trade, magic puno at iba pang transaction sa laro. Lahat dito'y tatalakayin kayo, wag na lumayo. Bida dito yung mga player na magaling kumamada, mala Nikola Jokic at Victor Wembanyama. Yung mga hustle na player like Russell and Dillon at iba pa ay dito natin pwedeng makasyon. Let's talk about NPBL, UAAP and PBA together with NCAA and NBA. At sa lahat ng mga nangungopya ka ng literal, sa aking mga content di rin kayo magtatagal.
Yo, kamusta mga paps? Welcome to the Fantasy Basketball PH Podcast, your Filipino brand of fantasy basketball. Ang numero unong fantasy basketball podcast sa Pinas. Okay, balik loob tayo mga papi. Kamusta naman? I hope lahat kayo ay nag-e-enjoy sa NBA playoffs kahit tapos na ang fantasy. Dahil ang episode natin ngayon sa ating pagbabalik ay ang ating prediction and brief analysis sa upcoming conference finals sa NBA. At syempre, bagong lahat, ang episode na to ay of course mapapanood at mapapakinggan nyo sa YouTube. I-upload din natin yan sa Facebook at sa Spotify. And then shout out to our partners Rebanse. Gumawa tayo ng articles dyan every week. So we did several NBA team review. Mga 3 teams every week. So asahan nyo na ipopost ulit natin yon with additional analysis after the NBA Finals. And then starting sa Game 1 ng Western Conference Finals, we are going to do a live post-game reaction sa Radyo Pilipinas 2 Sports alongside our good friend Sir Aaron Bayato. So maraming salamat sa Radyo 2 Pilipinas Sports at kay Ma'am Judith Karingal sa oportunidad na binigay sa atin. Ayan. And bago natin umpisahan ng ating brief analysis and prediction, both Western and Eastern Conference Finals, big shout out din sa Daily Fantasy. So, hindi porket tapos na yung season-long fantasy natin sa Yahoo, yung iba sa ESPN, yung iba sa Fantrax. And doon natatapos yung ating fantasy routine, mga papi. Meron pa rin tayong Daily Fantasy, wherein, of course, daily siya. Kaya ka siya Daily Fantasy. Ang Daily Fantasy ay ang number 1 and only NBA partner fantasy sports app dito sa Pilipinas. Kaya check nyo na sa Daily Fantasy. Check nyo na ang Daily Fantasy sa www.playdailyfantasy.com. And if this is your first time or ngayon lang kayo magda-download at maglalaro dito sa Daily Fantasy, use our promo code FBPH para makakuha kayo ng extra coins. So itong Daily Fantasy na to, similar lang din to sa Fantasy. You choose players per team and then kung ano yung nag-garner or nakuha nilang stats, kung sino may pinakamataas na accumulated stats, yun ang mananalo. Ang only difference lang is meron ditong specific na conversion per stats. And again, as long as you choose a winning combination with highest possible stats with equivalent daily fantasy points, ikaw makakuha ng panalo. So, napakadali lang yan to be honest. At meron tayong free contest sa daily fantasy. Plus, in every game starting the finals conference tomorrow, meron tayong 10,000 peso bonus sa lahat ng contest nila up to the finals na yan. So, nako mga papi, wag nyo nang palagpasin to. Gawin nating 10 up to 10,000 pesos yung 10 piso nyo. Ganun kalupit yung makukuha yung premyo dito sa Daily Fantasy. And we're gonna create an episode as guide kung paano nga ba maglaro ng Daily Fantasy in the upcoming days. Okay, tapusin na natin ang pasakalye. Umpisahan na natin ang NBA Conference Finals Playoffs prediction para sa Eastern and Western Conference at umpisahan natin dito sa Western Conference. So, sago pa ang Minnesota Timberwolves against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, maglalapag tayo dito ng para sa akin top 3 angles per match up. And then, of course, at the end of the analysis, pipiliin natin kung sino yung sa palagay natin mananalo dito sa bakbakang Thunders and Wolves. By the way, personally, laglag na yung pinredict ko. So, to start off the season, wala pang analysis to, di pa natin alam kung sinong pasok sa playoffs. Parang personal na gusto ko sana ay Denver Nuggets. Pero during that time, umaasa ako na magkakaroon ng magandang trade ng Nuggets and to finally help out Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray to, create a better roster, especially nung nawala si KCP off season. Pero hindi nangyari yun. Pero yun yung parang personal na, yun yung mga favorite ko personally. Pero logical, ang pinili natin ay Boston Celtics. Nalaglag na din. So, yung mga medyo pinredict natin, umpisa nung taon, hindi nakapasok. Doon naman sa series prediction natin, starting from round 1, yun, may mga nakapasok, may mga hindi. Na-hit naman natin itong OKC Thunder. In-expect talaga natin to. Itong Timberwolves hindi natin na-hit. Medyo i-explain ko later ng bahagya kung anong nangyari doon sa round 1 ng Minnesota and Lakers. Hindi natin nagawa ng episode yon. And then sa Eastern Conference, of course, laglag yung Boston. Akala ko talaga makakapasok yung Boston. And I also didn't expect na hindi makakalusot ang Cleveland Cavaliers. So medyo durog tayo doon sa Eastern Conference. Medyo walang nakapasok doon sa inaasahan nating mga teams. Pero syempre, round 3 naman. So babawi tayo dyan. Let's see if makakakuha tayo ng hits this time sa ating Western and Eastern Conference analysis. Okay, going back. So, ang main na marquee matchup talaga dito ay Anthony Edwards versus itong si SGA. So, siguro mas gusto kong pag-usapan muna si Anthony Edwards kasi mas malaki yung anggulo ko sa kanya in terms of impact sa larong ito or sa series na to. Of course, SGA ganun din naman, pero unahin muna natin si Anthony Edwards. Isa dun sa mga notable na hindi ko din masyado in-expect from Anthony Edwards this playoffs is yung improvement niya sa tres. So feeling ko at this point, masasabi natin na kasama na talaga dun sa arsenal ni Anthony Edwards yung 3-point shooting niya. He had a very good season, especially yung playoff run niya in terms of outside shooting. And sa palagay ko, talagang maganda yung kinakalabasan ng mga laro kapag naa-allow ng Minnesota Timberwolves si Anthony Edwards to get good shot and shoot more threes. And I think this could be a difference maker. Parang ano siya hit or miss eh. If medyo mababa yung percentage niya at hindi nakahulog ng madami ng tres itong Timberwolves, mas maaalangan sila kasi natalo na nga ng OKC yung Denver wherein they have a better offensive threat. Wala pa masyadong outside shooting ang Denver. So kung ganun din yung mangyayari sa Wolves and they have lesser offensive weapons, medyo mas tagilid yung or mas alanganin ng Timberwolves sa OKC Thunder. And wag nating kalimutan na ang OKC Thunder actually has I think the best or at least second to the best defense against outside shooting. So, dun pa lang, medyo malaking bagay na yon dito sa matchup na to. They are both good defensive teams. Number one actually ang OKC Thunder at number two naman itong Timberwolves in the playoffs. So, um, mas madami kasing pwedeng ipang depense ang OKC Thunder dito kay Anthony Edwards. Of course, SJ can do that, pero I would assume ang unang magta-try na pagudin at bantayan itong si Anthony Edwards ay itong si Lu Dort na para sa akin mas mabilis. Hindi mabilis pala. Ang combination ng bilis at yung lakas ng pangangatawan mas umaangat si Lu Dort in comparison to the likes of Alex Caruso, J-Dub, and Kayson Wallace. But all of the names na nabanggit ko, no, mag-iikot-ikot yan, magsasalit-salitan yan against Anthony Edwards. So, in terms of players na dedepensa dito kay Anthony Edwards, there's a lot. And I think that's something na medyo nag-aalangan ako dahil remember itong si Anthony Edwards, he's also one of their better defenders. So he's gonna play both ends of the court and then kung magsasalit-salitan yung OKC, doon pa lang sa tao-tao, alam mo mahihirapan na si Anthony Edwards eh. Plus, OKC is a team that actually defends well as a group. So nakita nyo naman kung paano pupugin or pagkaguluhan ng help defense si Nikola Jokic every time na makukuha niya yung bola sa loob. So it's going to be interesting. I think there's gonna be games na talagang magmamamaw itong si Anthony Edwards, but it's not gonna be as easy as round 1 and round 2. Naalala nyo yung mga tinalo ng Wolves sa past 2 rounds, hindi ko naman masasabing na-dominate nila. Pero hindi ko, ang masasabi ko lang, they actually won against those teams na medyo hindi malinis. I mean, hindi, parang mayroong mga malalaking obvious na butas. Like for example, LA Lakers, they obviously doesn't have a big man in the middle. Plus, they're a little bit new. Parang medyo bago lang yung combination ng mga primary players nila. They started off with Anthony Davis and then eventually sinuwerte sila na nakuha nila si Luka. So, it does matter. It does matter. Though, hindi excuse yun, pero gusto lang i-point out yung linis ng pagkapanalo ng Timberwolves over round 1. Round 2, on the other hand, ito namang Minnesota Timberwolves ay nakalaban ng Golden State Warriors. Again, they did a good job. But, that's a team without Stephen Curry. That really mattered a lot kasi later pag-usapan natin yan, it did matter versus the very good front court ng Timberwolves. Mas na-highlight yung advantage ng Wolves dahil nawala si Curry. Kasi kung andun si Curry, mahihigop niya yung depensa. Talagang magkakaroon ng decision making ang Timberwolves in terms of their use or utilization ng kanilang mga big. And then ngayon, it's going to be against the OKC Thunder. So kita niyo yung difference from Lakers na hindi ko naman sasabing weak team ang Lakers, pero to some extent, even though I chose Lakers para manalo over the Timberwolves, I think it was a good matchup. Kumbaga, hindi nagkakalayo. And then, GSW, I personally believe na kung hindi talaga na-injury si Curry, GSW has a very, very good chance to beat the Timberwolves. So, alam mo yun, nakalipas yung dalawang teams that they actually did well, but it's not at the level ng OKC Thunder. So, gusto kong i-point out yun kasi malaking bagay yun. In comparison to OKC, na ang OKC naman, talagang kinain ng buo yung first round. Pagkatapos, pagdating sa second round, na-challenge sila, pero ended or closed the series very, very strong. Na pinakita nila kung sino talaga yung or gaano kalakas yung number 1 sa West and several team rating not only in the Western Conference but across the league. So para sa akin statement game yun eh, yung laro ng OKC Thunder na yun. But now let's talk about SGA. Feeling ko naman marami ding ipinakita ang Denver Nuggets on how to defend SGA. They just placed Nikola Jokic dun sa middle at si Nikola Jokic hindi pa siya defensive player pero nahirapan na rin itong si SGA the moment they did that. And now imagine Rudy Gobert being that player in the middle against the OKC Thunder, di ba? So palagi ko mahihirapan din talaga tong si SGA. They have to do offensive sets para mapaisip ang Timberwolves if they really want to put Rudy Gobert in the middle. So it means there are several players, especially the ones who shoots from the outside sa OKC Thunder, na kailangan step up talaga in terms of shooting. So later on, itatouch on natin yon. So kung papapiliin ako dito sa dalawang ito, I'd say I'd still choose SGA just because masyadong maraming load na nakaangkla para kay Anthony Edwards na feeling ko can go either way. Pwedeng mangyari, pwedeng hindi. Samantalang itong si SGA, dahil mas versatile yung mga teammates niya, though Minnesota Timberwolves has very good defensive players like Jaden McDaniels, 'di ba? I would assume Nicole Alexander Walker will also defend itong si SGA and Anthony Edwards as well. Pero yun nga you're already touching Anthony Edwards na number one offensive player mo. So yung pagod factor, I think could matter in a very possibly long series para dito sa dalawang defensive teams. Inilalagay ko yung boto ko ng bahagya, slight edge to SGA. Not, so, not saying na ido-dominate niya yung series or ido-dominate niya si Anthony Edwards. It's more of like, tinitingnan ko yung magiging strategy ng opposing team either dito sa mga main players na to Nasa palagay ko, medyo mas malaki yung impact at mas madaming pyesa ang OKC that could actually contain itong si Anthony Edwards. Not saying na talagang i-hold nila the whole series, pero again, the word is contain. Kahit pa paano, feeling ko mas may pyesa yung OKC Thunder. So, I think this one really, really will matter. Next up, so number 2 do sa listahan ko is yung number 2 guys din ng dalawang team. I think not only because of how they help their teams offensively and then do sa hierarchy din, palagay ko malaking bagay din yung performance nila this playoffs and even historically. So say for example si J-Dub, historically hindi pa rin talaga kagandahan yung resume niya dito sa playoffs. And actually nung sa laro ng Denver Nuggets, um, yung kagandahan ng laro niya starting second quarter until fourth was really really big. So imagine kung hindi nangyari yung explosion ni J-Dub na yon dahil the game 7 started off with Denver in the advantage. Feeling ko hindi ganun kalaki yung tambak or baka hindi basta-basta matambakan ng okay siyang Denver. So malaking bagay talaga si J-Dub. And aside from that, hindi pa rin talaga niya nabibigay yung isa sa mga pangangailangan dun sa role niya as number 2 guy and number 2 in terms of position, which is outside shooting. So isa to sa napaka-inconsistent ni J-Dub, and one of the reasons kaya natalo ang OKC Thunder last season against the Dallas Mavericks. So dito natin malalaman yung parang X factor on this game if J-Dub actually plays better. Mas may angat pa niya yung laro dito sa round 3. Sa round 2 and round 1, I can't say he really did play well. Feeling ko sakto lang. And to some extent, may mga games, lalo against Denver, na nawawala talaga siya. So, this could be like a redemption series for J-Dub in preparation kung sakali makakapasok sila sa finals. Plus, feeling ko the whole season pinaghandaan nila to Kasi isa talaga siya sa naging malaking butas last year. So dahil inexperienced na nga ang OKC Thunder sa playoffs, I guess certain players, especially their main guys, have to really step up and learn from their previous experience last year. So, ganun kalaki yung inaasahan ko dito kay J-Dub. Especially na itong Minnesota Timberwolves, despite being a good defensive team, feeling ko naman regular season-wise, they had a really good games over the Timberwolves. Alam kong iba-iba na yung nangyari ngayong playoffs. Mamaya pag-usapan natin si Julius Randle. Pero dapat in accumulation na to Kumbaga, there's no other game. After, pag natalo kayo ng one game, wala na. 3 games na lang, you'll be out. So feeling ko this is something that will shape J-Dub And I'm seeing na he can actually no bias to kasi si J-Dub sa mga favorite players ko sa mga batang mga players. Pero yun nga, no bias pero I think kaya niyang malagpasan tong challenge na to, and that will make him better. I guess hindi naman very good, pero more like better as a player moving forward. So nakikita ko na matalinong player siya. Sa palagay ko marami siyang natutunan. And aside from that, aside from scoring, nabanggit ko kanina si Anthony Edwards, I think malaking bagay yung rotation nila. So he's gonna play Anthony Edwards at some point. He's probably gonna guard Julius Randle as well. So magkakaroon talaga ng rotation, and I think dahil isa sa primary defender ng OKC Thunder si J-Dub, again, he's gonna be the X factor for OKC para sa series na to, para sa akin. On the other hand, Julius Randle, ito medyo na undervalue ko siya. Siguro dahil sa fantasy din. Medyo kilala na natin kasi yung tendencies ni Julius Randle. Pero he's actually doing a good job dun sa role niya para sa Timberwolves. Pati yung sistema ng Timberwolves nagkiklik sa kanya. Dun sa shooting niya from the outside is a little bit more consistent versus dun sa regular season performance niya. Especially yung history niya sa New York Knicks. Plus, he's actually doing a good job facilitating. Kasi itong si Anthony Edwards, may mga games na sobrang init niya kasi hindi siya napipilitang magdala ng bola. And Julius Randle or maybe sometimes Donte DiVincenzo or itong si Mike Conley, maganda talaga yung pagkaka-set up na hindi na kinakailangan ni Anthony Edwards to take the playmaking chores. And dun papasok si Julius Randle. It's still a big question for me kung masusustain ni Julius Randle yung nagawa niya last series. Hindi ko in-expect that he's gonna be as good as he is right now. Sobrang upgrade from the regular season. Hindi ko naman sinasabi na at some point hindi mangyayari to. Pero it's a question mark for me. Unti-unti na ako naniniwala just because hindi na natin matatanggi yung ebidensya. Talagang maganda yung performance niya. Pero I'm still putting a small question mark kung magagawa ba ulit ni Julius Randle to. He's a veteran. I think he can. Pero we're talking about the best defense in the league. So, bigyan ko siya ng konting question mark. Number 3 sa listahan ko, I think, in terms of X factor, eto aside, feel ko X factor din talaga si Julius Randle. Pero ito si Jaden McDaniels, ang laki nung naiambag niya sa Timberwolves dahil he's actually scoring well. And isa sa reason kaya nag-lead ako sa LA Lakers kasi questionable sa akin yung kakayahang umiscore ng Timberwolves eh. Parang in my mind, aside from Anthony Edwards, questionable pa itong si Julius Randle. And then after Julius Randle, wala naman talagang offensive threat dito sa Wolves eh. But then again, pinahiya tayo at nagpakitang gilas itong si Jaden McDaniels. Now, similar dun sa take ko kay Julius Randle. For me, it's also questionable. Can he still do it? Plus, ang another layer nung tanong na yun, can he still do that? Or can he do that against the number one defense in the league, which is the OKC Thunder? So, if yes, then it's going to be favorable para sa Timberwolves. Pero if no, well, overwhelming masyadong OKC pag nagkataon yon kung aasa lang talaga sila kay Anthony Edwards or kay Julius Randle. So, para sa akin, malaking bagay din talaga si Jaden McDaniels for this specific series. Similar to Jaden McDaniels, ito naman nag-aambag naman talaga to si Chet Holmgren. Kaya ko lang siya nilagay sa pang-apat ng listahan ko. It's because he's not shooting very well. And then, sabi ko nga kanina, nabanggit ko si Rudy Gobert, how different it is kapag andon si Rudy Gobert at nakaangkla siya sa gitna, 'di ba? And then sabi ko kanina, ginawa yun ni Nikola Jokic at hindi pa defensive player si Nikola Jokic. So, if gagawin ng Wolves yun, kung may natutunan ng Wolves sa panonood sa Thunder at sa Denver series, feeling ko itatry nilang i-replicate yon because it worked for Nikola Jokic. So it means malaking bagay yung gagampanan ni Chet Holmgren. Kasi he needs to really shoot well this series. He isn't really shooting very much and he's not shooting very well as well. Dalawang well yun. Kumbaga hindi din siya talaga consistent sa outside. To be a threat the whole playoffs, hindi lang dun sa Denver Nuggets series. So, palagay ko this will matter. Hindi ko na itatouch yung defense niya at yung mga bagay na obvious. Pero para sa akin, isa to doon sa mga low-key, could be a difference maker this series. Dahil additional angulo siya na pangontra doon sa strength ng Minnesota, which is their front court defense. So, Chet Holmgren, tingnan natin kung makakapag-step up to. Lastly, number 5 sa akin, siguro yung to some extent may similarities ang dalawang team na to lalo sa defense, pero pagdating sa offense doon tayo nagkakatalo. Kaya ilalagay ko sa number 5 list ko ay yung bench players nila. So, hindi lang kita dito sa image sa image na nasa slide natin. Pero aside from Naz Reid, you have Dante DiVincenzo and AW, and then sa OKC naman, you have Kayson Wallace, you have Aaron Wiggins, diba? And maybe Jalen Williams din. So para sa akin, dahil almost similar yung posibleng gawin ng dalawang team na to sa isa't isa. So it's gonna matter yung points of the bench, especially points from the outside. Kasi naging, to some extent, naging relying factor. Hindi ko sabing bread and butter. Pero medyo nag-rely din sa outside shooting ang Wolves. Well, OKC, they haven't, yun talaga yung isa sa mga major weakness nila. So I think it's gonna matter kung sino dun sa bench ang makakatulong ng mas malaki dito sa starters nila. Kita nyo naman yung nangyari sa OKC. The moment na, kasi first quarter, nung sa game 7 nila, lamang pa ng double figures ng Denver eh. Pero the moment na pumasok si Aaron Wiggins, kasi Kayson Wallace, alongside itong si Alex Caruso, sobrang nagbago yung dynamics eh. So for me, that's gonna matter. So aside from the outside shooting, the pace is going to be faster, which the Denver doesn't want to happen kasi they're bigger and they rely more on defensive sets. So, mas mababagal sila. So, kung tatakbo ang OKC dahil sa sa defense nila that ends up forcing the Timberwolves to have turnovers and lead to transition plays dahil again, number 1 ng OKC in forcing teams to have a turnover, tanong nyo pa sa Denver, aba, mahihirapan sumabay itong Timberwolves dahil malaki nga sila. Mababago yung dynamics ng lineup nila. So, ang mangyayari, OKC is dictating the game. On the flip side, ito naman Timberwolves, Nasrid has been very good against the OKC Thunder, pero he haven't really played very well dito sa playoffs. So let's see kung pagdating sa OKC magbabago yung bagay na yun. Kasi yun nga eh, matindi yung depensa masyado ng OKC at dahil may question mark tayo kay Randall, may question mark tayo kay Jaden McDaniels, and even kay Anthony Edwards. So, mas magiging malaki yung impact na contribution nito nila Naz Reid, nila Dante DiVincenzo at Nickel Alexander Walker. Even Mike Conley, kahit na starter sa Mike Conley, kumbaga isa doon siya doon sa posibleng asahan ng Timberwolves kapag nagkakaroon ng drought eh. So, ito yung ikalima doon sa main points ko. I understand marami pang ibang angulo, posibleng hindi tayo touch on. Pero para sa akin, yun yung limang aabangan ko at naging anchor ng analysis ko dito sa dalawang teams na to. Medyo nakikinita-kinita nyo na no, kung sino yung pipiliin kong team kasi medyo naka-lean more ako kay OKC dun sa kung paano ko siya inanalyze. Pero don't get me wrong, feeling ko um, ang weakness ng OKC ay outside shooting, ang weakness ng OKC ay they, well, Wolves is a better rebounder than other teams na nakalaban nila dito sa playoffs. So that could matter as well. Mas malaki din ang Wolves, and they are also a defensive team. At wala pa rin nakakalaban ng OKC na ganun, di ba? So to some extent dikit siya, and but I'm thinking na I'm gonna give OKC an edge kahit na wala silang experience pa sa playoffs at lamang sa experience ng Wolves. But still, yung kanilang depensa at yung pinakita nila sa buong season at even in the playoffs, feeling ko will matter. Feeling ko baka masyadong maliitin or lalo na ng mga fans ang OKC kasi nahirapan sila sa Denver Nuggets. But kita niyo naman kung paano tinapos ng OKC yung Game 7 against the Nuggets. So, I'm gonna choose OKC. Initially, I was thinking OKC and 6, pero bibigyan ko pa rin ng chance ang Minnesota Timberwolves kasi they did a good job against the Denver Nuggets before. Hindi lang ibig sabihin, hindi lang dahil kontrapelo sila, but feeling ko it's about the preparation. So it says a lot about organization and the coaching staff of the Timberwolves. So I'm gonna give credit to that. So I'm gonna go OKC in 7. Aya. Okay. So yung Western Conference prediction natin plus brief analysis ay OKC winning the series as the Western Conference Finals champion against the Timberwolves in 7 games. Next up, Eastern Conference naman tayo, is the Indiana Pacers against the Jalen Bronson led New York Knicks. So ano to foreshadowing na-share natin yan sa page natin yung WWE na rivalry ni Halliburton sa ni Bronson like a year ago or several months ago. So it's fun kasi fun ano tayo supported natin or supportive tayo sa sa pro wrestling community. So alam natin yung mga nangyayari. Kaya natutuwa ako kasi nag-connect yung dalawang hobby natin sa iisang parang storyline. But in reality, feeling ko para sa akin malaking bagay na magkakatapat itong dalawang younger-ish guards sa East just because clutch-wise, syempre si Bronson, pinakita niya how clutch he is. He even won the award. Pero Halliburton has been clutch as well dito sa playoffs. They actually beat the number one team in the East. Plus, itong Indiana Pacers is the closest team that fought against Boston last year and even defeated the New York Knicks. 'Di ba? So, yun yung inaasahan ko kay Halliburton kasi iba na yung Halliburton na nakikita natin ngayon versus dun sa nangitlog na Halliburton ng regular season at shaky even after that. So during etong playoffs, ang laki ng improvement eh. Talagang from a team na halos wala kang masabing number one player for the Indiana Pacers, Halliburton actually is showing us na hindi siya yung pinaka overrated na player as a lot of people say. So para sa akin there's something into that, and I think this is going to be a good series, especially na dahil maganda yung performance ni Halliburton. Isa siya sa focal at defensive team itong New York Knicks. It's going to be interesting who's gonna guard him. Is it going to be Josh Hart? Is it going to be Mikal Bridges? Maybe it's gonna be Josh Hart. Pero how would Halliburton react in a series against a possibly good or best defending wing sa Eastern Conference, which is either Mikal, even OG, or even itong si Josh Hart. On the flip side, Jalen Bronson, walang question doon sa ability niya to score. Feeling ko ang question na lang dito is how would the Indiana Pacers attack Jalen Bronson? Kasi yan din ang ginawa ng Boston Celtics eh. Ang kaganda lang sa New York Knicks, they were able to plan ahead and do something about it para hindi talaga mapugo si Jalen Bronson. Ang catch lang dito is among all of the Eastern Conference teams, number one sa offense or sa offense itong Indiana Pacers, especially in transition. So, kakayanin ba ni Jalen Bronson yon? Kasi baka maging attack, point of attack itong si Jalen Bronson eh. So, it's either mabugbog siyang masyado, mapagod siyang masyado, or commit a lot of fouls. So, still, maganda naman yung pinapakitang depensa ni Jalen Bronson, pero hindi kasi din yun yung archetype niya. So, it's going to be interesting for this main point guards for Pacers and the Knicks. Similar do sa Western Conference, number 2 sa listahan ko ay yung number 2 guys din. So, I'm talking about Karl Anthony Towns and Pascal Siakam. Histories, kinakain talaga ni Pascal Siakam itong New York Knicks. Kahit i-check nyo yung stats last season and even some of the games in the regular season, nagiging problema talaga si Pascal Siakam against the New York Knicks. Thing is, that was last season wherein injured si OG Anunoby. And then that was also the season wherein wala pa si Karl Anthony Towns. Not saying na sila yung magmamatch up, pero it's also going to be a problem sa defense kapag masyadong uminit si Karl Anthony Towns. So, going back to Pascal Siakam, kaya ba rin ba niyang magawa ulit yung performance niya last year against a healthy OG Anunoby? Parehas galing Toronto Raptors to. They know each other very well. So it's going to be really an interesting match for the powered forward position. Kyle Anthony Towns on the other hand, in the regular season, sobrang init nito against the Indiana Pacers. So masasabi kong pwedeng maging siya yung difference maker sa series na to if ever manalo ang New York Knicks. So if ever New York Queens, it means talagang nag-take over si Karl Anthony Towns. So that's how big my expectation for Karl Anthony Towns is. Maganda yung performance ni Mikal, ni OG, at ni Josh Hart always, every time, even against the Boston Celtics. Pero in terms of fighting the best offensive team sa East, well, second offensive after Boston Celtics, feeling ko kailangan mag-step up ni Karl Anthony Towns eh. They have a chance to fight Indiana Pacers with fire, and aside from Bronson, malaking bagay kung makakapag-step up si Karl Anthony Towns. In terms of the matchup, si Karl Anthony Towns gonna face Miles Turner. He didn't have a hard time playing against Miles Turner. Remember, there was a playoffs wherein si Karl Anthony Towns was the Jokic stopper. So, sa defense, kahit hindi kilala si Karl Anthony Towns, I think he's one player that proved na kaya niya mag-step up when the team really needs it. And he's also a better rebounder than itong si Miles Turner. Kaya nga naisama ko siya sa equation ni Pascal Siakam kasi if kakainin ng buo ni Karl Anthony Towns itong si Miles Turner, not saying na ganun kadali yun, kailangan tumulong ni Pascal Siakam. So, it's going to be an interesting front court matchup kasi yung si Miles Turner sa si OG naman, well, even din naman si Kat, they're always on the outside eh. Kumbaga, ang medyo mas nabababad sa loob for the Knicks ay itong si Mitch Robinson sa Kat. I'm not sure if they can afford Mitch Robinson na mababad, di ba? Against the fast Indiana Pacers. So, it's going to be Karl Anthony Towns for sure. Pangatlo sa aking listahan ay itong si Benedict Mathurin saka itong si TJ McConnell, and even other bench players ng Indiana Pacers. You have Thomas Bryant, you have Obi Toppin. Feeling ko kasi kung merong malaking pagkakaiba ang Knicks saka Pacers, feeling ko yung lalim ng rotation ng Pacers eh. Ang New York Knicks kasi, they're playing Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, 40 minutes plus eh. Always. Napaka-konti ng rotation nila. Ang bench lang na nagagamit nila is Mitch Robinson saka si Deuce McBride. Limited minutes. Samantalang ang Pacers, hindi naman nag-rely, pero they are heavy in terms of rotation kasi they have good bench players. Medyo malalim. And if you'll check, do sa mga nanalo or mataas yung chance of winning, you have Minnesota at OKC sa West na pares malalim yung bench. And then you have Indiana Pacers. And then ito, ang natatanging kakaiba, which is itong Knicks na hindi malalim yung bench. So if that trend is true, then there's Indiana Pacers has a big advantage. At para sa mga naglaro ng daily fantasy, always look at Ben Mathurin. Kasi every time na malas, si Andrew Nembhard or itong si Tyrese Haliburton or even si Pascal Siakam, kumukuha talaga sila ng puntos dito kay Ben Mathurin. And even itong si Obi Toppin kasi yun talaga yun eh. Pagkatapos naman, kung gusto nila mabago yung tempo ng laro, itong si DJ McConnell naman yung talagang maaasahan nila. Possibly the best backup point guard in the league. So, this bench rotation is gonna matter at some point. So, ilalagay ko siya dito sa pangatlo ng ating listahan. Pang-apat naman, kung bench ang malakas sa Indiana, sa New York Knicks naman, yung starters yung malakas. You have Mikal Bridges, Anunoby, and Hart. Feeling ko hindi ko na kailangan na-explain kung gaano kagaling tong tatlong to, both offensively and defensively. Pero gusto ko lang i-emphasize na in terms of offense, minsan tumitirek itong si Mikal Bridges sa si Anunoby. So if that happens, it's going to be hard for the New York Knicks. Kasi sino pang aasahan nila? Again, ang bench lang na nagagamit nila ay si Deuce McBride sa si Mitch Robinson. So that's going to be tough for the New York Knicks. Plus, these guys plays a lot of minutes. So if you're running as fast as the pace of the Indiana Pacers, I'm really not sure. Dahil simula umpisa ng season, ginagawa na nila to. Until playoffs, babad ng mga players na to. Hindi ko alam kung either naka-adapt na sila or at some point titirik sila. So for me, that's crucial. So it's either it's gonna work or it's gonna take a toll out of these players. So let's see. Let's see kung anong mangyayari. Pero Mikal did a very, very good job being clutch every time na umuupo si Bronson and every time na nagkakaroon sila ng ng pangangailangan to come back against the Boston Celtics. Anunoby has been consistent. And then Josh Hart, as usual, does a lot of things. And para sa akin, to some extent, posibleng magkaroon ng chance na asahan nila si Josh Hart na mamain either itong si Tyrese Haliburton or Andrew Nembhard kapag sila naman lang nasa opensa and ang Indiana Pacers match up their players in that manner. Kasi yun yung magiging butas ng Pacers eh. Medyo malaki itong si Josh Hart compared to the other players eh. Pag kasi yung mga nabanggit kong players, si Nembhard sa si Hali, nag-rotate kay Anunoby sa kay Mikal, masyadong obvious yun. Talagang mamamain sila. So I think ang pinakabutas na lang is, of course, Bronson na is always a threat. The feeling ko si Aaron Nesmith naman ang dedepensa sa kanya. So it leaves Josh Hart para makakuha ng medyo maliit na depensa from the Indiana Pacers. So feeling ko malaking bagay yon. Last point at feeling ko bottom point ko para dun sa aking verdict. So Tibbs has been doing a good job. The Knicks has been doing a good job. Pero feeling ko this series is going to be close. I think it's going to be up to game 7. Yung West kasi posibleng may game 6 eh, masasabi ko eh. Ito kasi feeling ko it could go either way. Pero I'm thinking it's really tough for these New York starters to be at their best almost 40 minutes every game. And baka ito yung magiging mitya ng magandang run ng diskarte ni Tibbs. Kasi hindi na basta-basta yung makakalaban nila eh. Mapapalaban sila sa takbuhan, mapapalaban talaga sila sa depensa. Unlike Boston na loves shooting from the outside, Indiana Pacers love transition and they are also capable of having a lot of offensive players. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a very tough matchup, kumbaga kontrapelo. At ang iniisip ko lang, kung ganun kadikit yung matchup na to, baka mag-matter number one, yung uh, pagod. Number two, yung bench. So, kapag nagkasabayan, baka kainin ng Indiana itong New York Knicks just because they can and they're very deep to that aspect. So I'm gonna go Indiana Pacers in 7. Ayun! Ayun, paano mga paps? Yun yung ating verdict. So I'm going okay si Thunder in 7. Pwedeng 6, pero dahil gusto ko pares game 7 in 7. And then Indiana Pacers over the favored New York Knicks kasi maraming may gusto ng New York Knicks. Ako din eh. Actually, gusto ko din naman ng New York Knicks just because magulo sila eh. Iba yung crease eh. Pero based on my analysis nga, I think there's an angle na lalamang Indiana Pacers. So, I have to stick to what I think could happen. So, ayan. Maraming maraming salamat mga paps. I hope natuwa kayo or may mga na share akong punto na posibleng makatulong dun din sa mga analysis nyo on your own para dito sa Eastern and Western Conference Finals. For the things that I missed or na hindi ko na napag-usapan, hindi ko nabanggit, comment nyo lang pag na-post na natin to sa Facebook at sa YouTube at let's have a good discussion mga papi. So until our next episode, maraming maraming salamat mga papi. Again, this is your Fantasy Papi, Papi Roy. Bye-bye.